The shiur is dedicated l'zecha nishmas Rachaleya bas Rav Chaim Tzvi. We have been studying Tehillim Mizmor Vav, one of the most moving of all the Mizmorim that we find in Sefer Tehillim, and of course we recognize it because of its major central component, which is Tachanunim. This is the Tachanun that we say on a daily basis. On Monday and Thursday, we preceded with the Behu Rachum Tefillah, but on a daily basis, we recite Tachanun. And last year, we reviewed the Perek, almost line by line, and we discussed a very moving comment of Rav Shimshon Pincus, Zecher Tzadik Livracha, and the language of Shminis. We pointed out that Lamatzeach bin Ginos ala Shminis Mizmor David. As we know, the Maharal lays down one of the most beautiful principles of the Maharal, that the number 8 is Lavala B'derech HaTeva, and we will see in examining this Mizmor that the Mizmor addresses this idea of the Chesed of Hashem Yisbarach, which is Lavala B'derech HaTeva. Even when one is undeserving of that Chesed, Ribbon Shalom, Mitzad Chesed, writ large, Behispashtus. Chesed without gvul, chesed without limitation. And that's the key to the understanding of the Mizmor. We as well examine the structure of the Mizmor. We saw the Mizmor has a number of schemata. In the page in front of you, you have 3 pages. Number 1 is just the Mizmor in and of itself. Number 2, the Mizmor is divided into 2 sections. Again, the 2 sections are fairly evident in terms of its theme. In part number 2, the Mizmor is divided into 2, Psukim Aleph all the way to Ches. Obviously, the first part of the Mizmor describes the Teichacha of Hashem Yisbarach towards a person, and he pleads with Hashem Yisbarach, please do not give me Teichacha ba'apcha, under anger, and do not subject me to Yisurim, do not be miyasemi b'chamascha, also a kind of anger. Hashem, please grant me Tachanunim, because I'm in a state of despair, I'm in straitened circumstances. Rifayini Hashem ki nivhalo atzamai. And we spoke about last week the notion, the concept which we find in Hoshanas of Sukkot, that Hashem should save a nefesh from behala. Behala means where one is in a state of confusion, one is confounded, one simply does not have any clarity in terms of where one is going, what one's kivun is in life. V'nafshi nivalo miyod. And my soul is really torn, my soul is in a state of terrible metach and tension. V'yato Hashem ad mosai, shuva Hashem chaltza nafshi, restore my nefesh to its state of homeostasis, to a sense of composure, a balance. Hoshieni leman chastecha. The Yeshua of Hashem Yisbarach should come about because of the chesed of Hashem Yisbarach. We know that chesed, by definition, means that which is done lifnim mishur hasadin. A person may not necessarily be deserving of chesed, but Hashem Yisbarach created the world. Olam chesed yibare. The world was created for chesed, and therefore we ask Hashem to save us. L'man chasdecha. Ki'ein b'amav zichrar mishol miyodelach. Clearly, a person, once he passes away, has no way of saying Hodat Hashem Yisbarach. And again, we pointed out, based on Rambans that we discussed a number of times in the shiur and Tehillim, how the tachlis of the Bria is to say Hodat Hashem Yisbarach. Not just the human being, but literally, Domin, Tzomea, Chai, Medaber, the 4 different classes, the entire Bria Kula. Hashemayim is sabring fokel, Umasiyada, Magidarakia. And therefore, once a person passes on, there's no longer possibility of any type of Hudah, Shevach to Hashem Yisbarach. Pasuk Zayin Ches Yogati Me'an Chosi Ascheh B'chalayla Mitasi B'dimol Siyar Siyamse Osher Shom B'kaseini Oska B'chol Tzororoi. And that ends, according to part number 2, or schemata number 2, this ends part 1 of the Mizmor, which of course has a doleful element, an element of almost Midas Adin hovering over the entire 8 psukim. But Tes Yud Yud Aleph, there's a total change where somehow Hashem has responded favorably to my Bechi, and here the verbs change. The verbs in the first 8 psukim we said are Chaneni, Rifaini, and again we mentioned the Mefarshim Rishonim discuss what exactly the issue is, whether it's Oivim, whether it's God forbid a Machla, that Hashem Yisbarach Bechazdo Agodol will be Merape, whether it's Golus. Different Rishonim talk about these different possibilities, the Radak and the Meiri and Rashi, Bechulu, and Test Yud Yud Alpha already, there's a tone which is completely different. A tone of Rachamim. Hashem is responsive. Hashem is responding affirmatively to my tfilos. My oivim, pali ovim are going to be disengaged. Shama Hashem tchinasi, Hashem tfilasi yikach, and therefore that behala which I was somehow surrounded with, hopefully Be'ez Hashem is baruch, that behala will be transferred and transported elsewhere, namely to